Hi, welcome back to the Infinite Lifetime Sutra. I'm your host Angelina. Okay, during the last episode, at the end part of it, I said that this episode we're going to dive into chapter 4. But after some deliberation, I was looking at the explanation text of the chapter 3. Okay, the part where Amitabha Buddha was giving praise to the Buddha during his time to request for the guidance, right? There was this part at the end that I was rushing through, which is about the 6 paramitas of a bodhisattva. Okay, so after going through, I decided that today, probably for this episode, we're going to look in depth into the 6 paramitas. Okay, because the 6 paramitas are the things that we can actually start practicing. Okay, we need to be able to understand, and then after that, even if we don't take the bodhisattva vow, then we can just start with baby steps on what we can do, what we should do, and then to practice from there. Okay, if we were to look at the general context of the 6 paramitas of a bodhisattva, okay, you can just go online. Okay, let me quickly just go online. Oops. Six paramitas, 6波罗蜜. Okay, we call it the 6 paramitas bodhisattva. Okay, what are the 6 paramitas in Buddhism? Okay, in English, all right, it is called generosity, dana, ethical discipline, sila, patience, santi, diligence, virya, meditative concentration, jhana, and wisdom, prajna. Okay, how do you cultivate this, right? A lot of people, when they see this, there are some who say that, oh, all these words, it is like so much work. But actually, the 6 paramitas, yes, it is a lot of work. And for the bodhisattvas, they are taking this vow to make it into a perfection. Okay, like our Amitabha Buddha, his perfection is in the patience. A lot of stories they were talking about the times when he was his flesh was sliced. Okay, like for example, in one of the stories it was talking about the time he met with a tiger, or was it a lion? I'm not too sure. I can't remember correctly. Okay, I can't remember accurately what it was, but it was a female lioness or a tigress, either one of them, and there were cubs, and they were hungry. So when they saw the Buddha, okay, Allah Gautama Buddha, the no matter how hungry they are, the lioness just couldn't bring herself to eat our Bodhisattva, our Lord Gautama Buddha at the time. Okay, they would rather hold their hunger instead of attacking him, because even animals they are able to differentiate between the right and the wrong, and they are able to sense that this person is not just a normal person, he is actually a bodhisattva in practice, so they will not harm this person. Okay, not like our humans these days, right? They don't care who you are, and then they just go about doing their own ways, and there comes all those words like narcissism, favoritism, manipulators, micromanagers, whatever not. Okay, so all these, the animals, they are able to sense that this person is not a normal person, and they know that this is actually a bodhisattva or Gautama Buddha practicing as a bodhisattva, and they prefer to be hungry instead of to devour him. So what our ever compassionate Lord Gautama Buddha did was actually to kill himself so that they will eat his flesh. And even when he was his body was dead, the lioness was actually crying when she had to devour his flesh and to also feed the children. Okay, and then there was also the time when there was this evil king who sliced the flesh of our Lord Gautama Buddha due to some arrogant encounter. Okay, so while he was slicing the flesh of our Lord Gautama Buddha, who was a Bodhisattva at that time, the act itself, okay, it will be painful. You imagine slicing, okay, bit by bit, slicing. You will feel the pain, you will feel the anger, you will feel resentment towards this person who is doing it to you. But our Lord Gautama Buddha was like, go ahead. No, not a single resentment was born because of that act. And because of this patience and because of the kind the kindness, the compassion of it, right? Our Lord Gautama Buddha actually, because of this one, he became our fourth Buddha instead of Maitreya. Okay, Maitreya supposedly should be our Buddha at our time, but because of this act, this patience that our Lord Gautama Buddha had displayed when the evil king was slicing his flesh, his perfection came earlier than Maitreya, and he became our present Buddha. So in the entire revelation of this story, it is very clear that we are able to elevate ourselves and we are able to achieve. Okay, there's no need to wait for the time. Okay, we are able to achieve if, let's say, our perfection, our karma is able to carry through much faster than another person. So it is just like in your corporations today, right? It doesn't mean that the person with the most seniority will be the right person for the position. Sometimes it can be the person who has accumulated a lot of experiences outside that will be able to fulfill their role, instead of the person who seemed to have accumulated that kind of experience due to the age of it. So yeah, it applies also for your achievement of Buddhahood. Okay, so when we're talking about the first one, okay, generosity, dana. So there are three types of generosity. Okay, there's generosity in terms of financial. Okay, I think I've already spoken of that before in my past Dhamma talks. Okay, so in our past discussions. So dana can be of three types. The first type is the financial. Okay, you give money, you give materials, you give away your possessions, you give away things that are outside. Okay, even when you're talking about the gift of this body is also considered something like a material thing, but it's giving something, an object. Okay, the the resulting of it is actually the more you give, the more you will get in return. Okay, money, if you're talking about in the economic sense, when you put money out into the market, more money will be rolling, right? So it is the fluidity of the cash flow. So in terms of fluidity of the cash flow, you'll be able to see that, okay, from this money you can actually generate that much for other people. Okay, and the benefit that other people can actually get from this first one, it can generate to the next, right? But in terms of giving, okay, the merits of giving, the coming back is many times more, okay, then the investment that you have put in, depending on the genuinity of your giving, your sincerity at the point of giving, your intention of giving, right? And the type of heart that you have while you were giving, what was in your mind. Okay, do you have a mind of giving just to be able to flaunt to other people that you were giving earlier? Okay, that kind of return is not going to be too much, right? Because you have an intention of letting other people know of your generosity. But if you were to give silently, unassumingly, people don't know about it. There are also those people who, in the forefront of it, it looks as if they are money crazy, they are stingy, or they are just always thinking about dollars and cents. But behind the scenes, they are actually giving a lot of donations to others who are less fortunate. Okay, they work hard so that they're able to help others who are in need of the money, and that kind of return is many fold. right? Which we call in Chinese as yin. The yin, that means yin. Okay, it is hidden. The is the merits, so it is a hidden merit when you're actually giving without letting others know, without expectations of return, without making a rara out of it. Okay, when you donate, you just donate sincerely based on your affordability, but there is no intention of getting any returns. Okay, you don't need a publicity to as a return of your donation, right? That is the giving of um, financial, monetary, okay, material giving, dana. Okay, the second one is the giving of um, dharma. Okay, the giving of dharma, you can do it in a few ways. Either you demonstrate, okay, you show people how to do it the right way according to the teachings of the Buddha, or you very easily, you just, like, you see a lot of people now, they just donate to print the sutras. Okay, so there are a few publications, the printers, they will print the publications based on the donations of the of those who would like to do a dana donations. Okay, the dharma donation, in you go to the temples, you see many books like that. Okay, and sometimes at the back of it they'll tell you who the donors are. Okay, so for this batch of publication, these are the donors, and then yeah, all the names will be listed in there. um Again, if you want people to see, then that is one thing. If you don't want people to see, that is also another thing. Okay, you can opt to not have your name in there. You can opt to just print and for free distribution so that people can benefit reading the books, the sutras. Okay, and then there's also the 无畏布施. 无畏 is the gift of harmlessness. Okay, the gift of harmlessness is, I can say, very wide. Okay, it's also like function, the release of beings. Okay, like the release of fishes into the sea, the release of birds into the sky, and things like this. That is also one form of 无畏布施. But there is also another form of 无畏布施, which we can do as a daily practice. You don't have to intentionally get an animal and put it back into the wild. You can actually look at harmlessness. Okay, like for example, now in the corporate world, okay, in the office space, if you were to go into LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of people like they are being tormented. Okay, they're being tortured in the office front because they are faced with those who are not afraid of causing them harm. Harm in what way? Harm in probably the easiest way that we see, pushing away a person from his or her position in the company. Okay, forcing the person's resignation, that is a harm. Okay, when the person is still like earning a living and they are within the company, if they are contributing to the company, and yet you want to push this person away from the company, that is a harm. If you were to condone toxicity within your company, okay, allowing people to caress other people, to cause anguish to other people, to cause people to feel that, at the moment when they're nearing your company, they in the car there, they have anxiety, they feel uneasy going to work. That is a kind of harm. Okay, so that's why we're always talking about positivity at work, at the workplace. We're talking about elimination of toxic behaviors at the workplace. We're talking about not condoning toxic behaviors at the workplace. In fact, there will always be the situation where you just want to get the work done. Okay, you don't cause trouble, you don't gossip, you don't create scenarios in which people will be able to feel uneasy when they come to the office. They will feel that it's a negative environment to work at. Okay, this is the harmlessness that which you will be able to experience if you can read karma. Okay, all the time you'll be able to see that those who cause such harm, they don't really go anywhere in their career. Okay, a most recent case was when one of my ex-companies, okay, a lot of us actually resigned because of a toxic coworker. Okay, and for the longest time, this toxic coworker was being properly protected. Okay, for certain reasons. All right, and the reason being that there was actually nobody to really look at how the entire thing really is. And so it caused a lot of anguish. A lot of good people left the company. A lot of productive people left the company because of this toxic personality inside there. This person has gotten away with the way that she was for the longest of time, for several years, and it was recently that she was managed out by the company through a mutual separation scheme, an MSS. And I'll say that foreseeing this is something that will be able to move the company forward in the department that she was working at, and it is a crucial department. So when this department thrives, it will eventually lead to more successes in other parts of the company. Okay, so I really wish the company good luck, and yeah, actually it's a really nice place to work, right? So besides all that, but you get the picture. Okay, narcissism in the office, playing favoritism, it is quite common, especially in companies where there are those who may think that they actually have too much power within their company itself, within the hierarchy of it. So people are being oppressed, people are harassed, and the mental anguish can actually cause um, negative health consequences. Okay, the anxiety and everything, the sleeplessness, right? All these things, if let's say the person does not identify it quick enough and still hold on to this toxic workplace, it may cause some heavy consequences medically, physically. Okay, but if the person identified the situation and instead of fighting around to try to gain ownership or to get validation in such a toxic environment, I would advise that this person actually go find a new job, right? So if the toxic is not going to leave the company, then you leave, right? For your own mental well-being. Okay, I'm not asking you to just job hop, but if this is the reason, I would rather that you stay healthy than to stay in an environment where you couldn't thrive, you couldn't breathe, right? Because I have experienced such anguish before, and I really do not wish such harm to anybody ever in my career. Okay, so that is the gift of harmlessness. And then there is also the second one, ethical discipline, sila. Sila is actually maintaining the moral conduct, is a form of a discipline. Okay, so the discipline is based on the precepts. Okay, the precepts of no killing, the precepts of no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no slandering. Okay, no causing discord. Okay, no there are, if you were to go into the sangha community, it is more than the 5 precepts that we normal laymen have to do. It's more than the 10 precepts that we have to do, but it is more to 200 over large ones. Okay, the precepts that they have to follow, the discipline that they need to have. So all this discipline is actually training us so that we are able to calm our minds. Okay, if let's say if let's say people do not train themselves, there'll be a lot of murders, there'll be a lot of rapes, there'll be a lot of harm done unto others, snatching, stealing, daylight robbery, um, just directly harassing other people. Okay, so the discipline of it. Why do we refrain from all these harmful activities? For one, they will send us down to hell. Okay, in the Rani Sutra that I was actually working and I'm actually working on for the Pinyin, the Buddha at one point actually describe one hell. Okay, and this hell was due to the abortion of fetuses. Okay, especially now in this time and age, right, there are a lot of people who, because of the the desire for sexual gratification, and then they're not careful, and then they start having children, they become pregnant, and because it is an unplanned pregnancy, then they say that it is an unwanted pregnancy, and then they go for abortion. Okay, abortion is the depletion of another being's life. When you perform an abortion, you are actually, um, just putting a stop to a person's life, even before the person is able to come out into this world. Okay, so during an abortion, okay, when the fetus is inside the in the mother's body, when you drink a hot drink to the fetus, it feels like, hell, hot, burning hell. If you take something cold, then it feels like you're in a frozen place, cold blizzard. Okay, that kind of situation. So, with all this suffering already within the fetus, and the next thing you know, I have seen some abortion documentary before. Okay, what they do, that documentary, I still remember it very clearly, like it was yesterday. The doctor has this scalpels and whatever, and then start pulling out bits and pieces of this fetus. And I remember so clearly the doctor was pulling a hand out of that womb. Okay, and it was such a tiny hand because the fetus was not fully grown yet. So it was such a tiny hand, and then it started pulling the leg, starting to pull the body, starting to pull what's supposed to be the head. It was really a horrific sight. Okay, it's like such terror, such inhumane. Really is inhumane. You're actually tearing apart a human body that was supposed to go through all the anguish of being inside the womb and with a hope of being alive. Okay, after the 9 months of coming out to this world to be able to perform and to complete whatever karma that was supposed to be. But instead, while the child was still in the womb, you kill the child. Okay, that is abortion. Okay, it does not matter if science says that it is okay before 3 months because the conscious levels are not there yet, but science can be wrong. Okay, science can be wrong. The consciousness of a fetus starts at the zygote. Okay, the moment that there is a conception of life. Okay, when the sperm actually penetrated into the ovum and the the cells start duplicating, that is when the moment of that is already the conceptualization of the life. That is when the consciousness of the being is already there. It is not after 3 months. Okay, it is not after what science taught as already the formation of the brain. Okay, every single cell itself is a complete universe on its own. You don't need that creation of the brain cell. You don't need that creation of a form that you can recognize before the consciousness arises. Without the consciousness, the zygote won't have been formed. It won't have, split into two. It won't have split into four. It won't have come into being in the first place if there is no consciousness. So the zygote can only form into a fetus with consciousness, and that all happens at the moment of conception. All right, so science or not science, the reality is such. Okay, and the fact that this child, okay, is able to conceive within the womb of the mother is actually based on the karma that is brought on by the mother and the father and this child's karma itself. Okay, whether you like it or not, right? So there are so many reasons and so many activities coming together to bring this form of life into being. And what you did in abortion is that you just eliminated that opportunity for this being to come into this life, to become alive. So it is murder. Okay, and because it is murder, so the murderer Okay, the mother who knowingly and intentionally kill the fetus inside the body. Okay, inside this sutra itself is talking about this lady who was 8 months pregnant. Okay, almost coming into being, but she took medication and murdered the baby in her. So what kind of punishment? The punishment is an Avicii hell. Okay, Avicii hell is the worst hell ever. Okay, it is like an endless punishment hell. And in this Avicii hell, there will be these metal walls, and the body of the murderer is as big as the metal walls, and this metal wall is very hot, is burning. Okay, but the body is also as big as the metal wall, so you can imagine you are being canned, and the walls that are metal and burning are scorching your body, and it is very long. Okay, it's as long as your body, and at the same time there are also metal snakes coming in and out from your eyes, from your mouth, from your nostrils, from your ears, from your body, right? They are going around, and they are metal and also burning. Okay, you just imagine that kind of pain the excruciating pain that you experience inside hell itself. Okay, and for how long? Continuously. Okay, for longest time, for the longest time. Okay, and that's why the sutra is there for us to learn how to appease it, how to avoid this kind of thing. Of course, the best avoidance is that you don't go for the abortion, right? You just don't kill, then you don't need to suffer, you don't need to worry about the need to appease this situation. Okay, so that is um about the ethical discipline. Okay, of course I've gone into the extremes because we're talking about killing, we're talking about stealing. There are a lot of people who are actually stealing these days, the scammers, and the retribution is that if you're stealing money, of course you're going to become a pauper for the next lifetimes, right? Because you owe a lot to the people who you stole from. Okay, and then there is the lying, the sexual misconduct we have spoken of, that's connected with the killing, and then the taking of the slanderous speech, the lying and everything that will cause discord or cause the mental anguish and the defamation of another person, right? There are a lot of things that's going on there. And then this is the ethical discipline that we must have, because it is too easy to fall into the trap of breaking these rules. Okay, these disciplines, even the 5 precepts, how many of us are actually able to do that? Right, 5 precepts alone, you try and see perfection. You try to just take the first precept, no killing. Are you sure that you won't be killing? Oh, I take vegetarian food. Okay, that one is, you don't intentionally kill the being for food, but can you guarantee that while you were asleep, you didn't accidentally sleep on a mosquito? Or when you're walking on the street, you didn't accidentally step on an ant? Okay, you can't guarantee all that. Okay, so that is just how hard it is for us to maintain the moral conduct. And the Bodhisattvas are actually consciously doing that. Okay, the perfection of it. Okay, then the third one, patience, santi. Okay, the developing forbearance, tolerance, and the ability to endure hardship with equanimity. Okay, oh, before that, this discipline. Okay, the discipline is in the sila is in not just the actions, okay, but also in our thoughts. Okay, in our mind, do we develop evil thoughts? Do we develop harmful thoughts of other people? Okay, in Theravada Buddhism, if you don't perform the act, then it is considered okay. But in Mahayana Buddhism, because we understand that mind is the foremost of everything, even a slight bit of evil thought will actually constitute to a negative karma. Okay, just the thought itself. Your thought of harming another will actually already constitute to the potential, the seeding of a potential karma, a bad karma if your thought is bad. But if it is a good karma, the potential for good. Okay, and then also there is this discipline where you will want to, in everything you do, bear in mind that it is for the benefit of all the people, okay, of other beings, okay, not just for your own selfish benefits. It's for the benefits of all beings. Okay, and then there is this, the patience. Okay, patience. Yeah, patience, we're talking about the things, okay, the harm caused to us by another human. Number two, the harm caused to us by natural disasters. And also number three, the patience to endure all the different types of humiliation. Okay, those things that crush us. Okay, the ability to endure harm caused by humans faults. Like for example, if we were to talk about the car. Okay, a lot of people now, you have cars that can light up so easily. Okay, maybe the components overheat or whatever, and then when the components overheat and then your car gets burned, and then you will see anger, of course, because why? Your car is so expensive and you are still paying for the installment, and then it bursts into flames. Of course there is the anger, right? The anger in the fact that you still need to bear the burden of the cost, even if you can no longer utilize the car. But there's also the situation where, in case, all right, you just look at the recklessness of people nowadays driving, all right, and that reckless driving may cause fatality. Okay, and that kind of fatality where it could be things as bad as hit and run, right? So all these are human made. And then there's also the natural disasters, okay, like the recent earthquake in Myanmar, right? There were over 1,000 victims, right? And then there's also that kind of humiliation, the harassment and everything. Okay, if, to be honest, okay, if you have not understood the sutra, all this simulation and everything, it will definitely cause pain in you. Okay, in the Chinese ancient culture, right, there is this situation where the great generals and whatever, they say, I would rather that you kill me than for me to be humiliated by you. Okay, I'd rather die than to withstand the humiliation you caused me. Right. So it is this humiliation that we need to be patient with, because there's bound to be people who mistreat you. Okay, earlier we've already spoken about the narcissism, and then also the all those toxic work environments. How are you going to be patient with that? Okay, a lot of times, a lot of people, they'll just, like when I face these situations, my ex-bosses just tell me, stay strong, stay strong. How do I stay strong? Right, it's easy to say stay strong, but how am I going to stay strong? Is there anything that I can do? Is there anything that I can use, any weapon that I can use for me to withstand this? The best weapon is actually in the understanding of the Buddha Dharma. Okay, understanding of the ultimate truth of the universe, in which everything is fake. Okay, if you understand that everything is fake, when this person is actually gaslighting you or causing pain to you, harassing you, this making you disgraced in public and everything like this, right? All these things, you realize that, oh, it's all fake. And this person who does that to you is actually he himself or herself looking for the validation from the public. Otherwise, why would he think that stepping down on you, or how would she think that stepping down on you is going to help elevate him or her position, right? Stroke his or her own ego. What's the point, right? Ego will only pull you down into the hells. If let's say you disregard your um your partners or your subordinates credit, and then you steal the credit from this person, okay, and then you gaslight this person and everything, there is a hell for it. Okay, I didn't finish with the hell talks, because for this one, one of the punishments for a boss to steal credits or discredit the subordinates, um whatever it is a hell where the the person's leg will be sawed off again and again and again, okay, in this hell, and a lot of other punishments, of course. So if you understand this and you know that the retribution of all this negative karma that's being caused onto you, you just look at this person and you feel that this person is really, really pitiful. And then you'll have that kind of compassion. If you already understood the Buddha Dharma, you'll have the compassion to think that this person, after growing, so many years being alive in this world right now, and yet still behaving that way and not knowing between the right and the wrong, and still trying selfishly to stroke his or her own ego, to downplay other people, to discredit other people, harassing them. It is all going into the books of this person's karmic balance. So at the moment of death, this person will go to the King Yama's court, and everything will be revealed in front of him, and then there is no lawyer. Okay, no amount of talk or no amount of your speech will be able to pull you out of there, unless you're doing merits. Okay, and yeah, so you'll just have pity on all these people who are doing all these things, because they have their insecurities. They already feel that they are not there, but they try to push other people down, because they want to think that they want people to think that they are better than others by letting other people down. Okay, so just be patient. Okay, be patient, trust in the universe, trust in the timing of the universe, and trust that karma is always at work. All right, so the next one, diligence. Okay, Virya, exerting tireless effort and enthusiasm in cultivating virtue and wisdom. Okay, Virya. Virya, there are also three types. Okay, the first Virya, your first how do you say, the diligence, exerting the right effort. Okay, is towards yourself. Okay, you have that kind of wisdom to know that you need to be diligently building on your own karma, building on the dharma, based on the dharma. Okay, build your own karma based on the dharma, so that you will not fall into the lower realms of existence, you will not fall into hell. Okay, and in fact, you will need to be able to understand, have that wisdom to know that becoming a Buddha is possible. It can be done within this lifetime itself. All right, with the right formula, with the right way of work. It's not just a formula, it's actually the right way of work. It is actually dependent on the Dharma itself. You listen to all the Dharma talks, you read all the sutras, you'll be able to find that the only thing that you need to do is to become a Buddha if you want to escape the samsara. Right, so that one is your wisdom, your diligence. Okay, you keep putting in the right effort to be able to achieve Buddhahood yourself. The second one is to continue doing good. Okay, accumulating the positive merits. Okay, keep doing the good, even if you're being gaslighted, even if you are being laughed at, or you are being scorned by society for doing something good. Okay, there are times when you try to do good and people just try to stop you from doing it, because they don't want to see your success. There are also times when you're trying to do good and people will just gaslight you or discredit you, and then yeah, they become a hindrance to what you're trying to achieve. But Be diligent, continue with it, because you know that the good that you're doing is not for yourself, it's actually for the benefit of other people. And then there's this third type. Okay, 劝化众生不疲不倦，有事说. Okay, you encourage others. Okay, you diligently encourage others through four things. One is, if you see something bad already happening, you encourage them to stop the bad. If you see something potentially going to turn bad, you stop this from happening. Okay, you stop the bad from happening. And then when you see a potential good, you encourage the potential to become a potent good. And if you see something good happening, you encourage the good to continue. And the good and the bad is not by your personal mortal standards. Huh? The good and the bad is actually based on karmic balance. Okay, the karmic measurement, not on your mundane measurement. Okay, the good, some people, when you're talking about the good, is just like, um the 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 job that you're doing is very good, it earns a lot of profit, the profit margin is high, is actually benefiting blah 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 blah. But it could have been some done, the profit could have been gotten in a wrong way, so that is also not right. Okay, so it has to be based on karmic standards, it's not based on your mundane human standards. Okay, and then there is also the meditative concentration, the jhana. Okay, the jhana. Okay, jhana in Chinese there's 禅定. Okay, 禅 comes from the jhana is right now. Okay, when you're talking about jhana, you're talking about concentration. It is the actual focus on right now. Like, for example, when you're sitting in meditation, what are you doing actually? You're sitting in meditation is to concentrate on right now. You're sitting in meditation, you won't be roaming with your mind to think about tomorrow's work or to think about yesterday. You won't be thinking about all that. You're going to concentrate on the right here, right now. That very moment, this present moment that you're in control of. Okay, this present moment where you are really here, right? This is jhana. This is the right here. Okay, be present, be at this very moment. So it is even if you're not sitting or you're not standing in meditation, it is your ability to be at this moment. Like right now, you're listening to this Dharma talk. You are right now. Okay, you are not multitasking, I hope. Or you are just plainly listening to what I'm saying right now. So this is, if your concentration is intense, you don't build any other thoughts in your mind or speculative thoughts in your mind, or you're not looking at me and then you start examining, wow, why is this light so bright, or what is that thing over there at the back behind Angelina, or why did Angelina clip up her hair today. You don't have all those things. Just be right here right now listening to what I'm talking, right? That is also a form of jhana. Right? And if you can actually maintain this form of jhana for the 40 over 50 minutes that I'm doing this Dhamma talk, then you have already completed that jhana for that, being at that moment during this 40-50 minutes. Okay, and then there is this situation where the 禅定 is unwavering. Okay, unwavering is when you'll be able to experience the samadhi. Okay, samadhi in Chinese they call it the sanmei. Okay, samadhi as in the experiencing of the calmness. Okay, the stillness of your mind, of your heart. Okay, that is the samadhi. Okay, the moment that you are at the present, that is the moment when you are in samadhi, because every single moment you can see clearly as if it is a photograph instead of a moving film. Okay, this is when you'll be able to see and you're in control of it, you're detached from it, you see it from a third person's perspective, you are not involved in it, you just see everything very clearly. no emotional entanglement, no emotional attachment. Okay, it is a detached situation where you'll be able to focus and see things very clearly. That is called samadhi. That is called your meditative concentration. It doesn't mean that you have to be sitting in meditation. It doesn't mean that you have to be at the temple and walking meditation. Okay, it's nothing like that. You just have to apply it to every single moment of your day. Okay, be right at the present moment. Okay, and then next one, wisdom, prajna. Okay, developing insight into the true nature of reality and nature of suffering and liberation. Okay, that one is that description is actually very Theravada, and if you were to look at the ultimate wisdom, that is, we call it paramita. Okay, 波罗智慧. Okay, 般若 prajna. Okay, the kind of wisdom that you will be able to achieve. Okay, it can be in the form of words. Okay, like if you're able to explain about the things that are using words, you can be able to explain the truth, the dharma, that is the contemplation, that is something to do with words. Okay, so it is the, like our Lord Gautama Buddha, all the Dharma talks that he gave us, okay, that is being translated into books right now, that is being transposed into books by Ananda and the 500 arhants in the past. Okay, it is being etched in words, okay, for our benefit. So that is the word wisdom. Okay, the word partner. Okay, by words. If you were to base it after you have read the sutra, reflect. Okay, that is your reflective prajna. Okay, after you have learned the theory, you apply it and you start examining. That is your experiment. You reflect onto yourself. You don't have to go to the science lab to do any experiment. You reflect it upon yourself. Are you acting according to the Buddha's teachings, or are you acting against the Buddha's teachings? Are what you're doing based on the Dharma and accumulating the right merits, or are you doing something against the Dharma and accumulating bad karma for yourself? And then the third one, 实相般若，是说宇宙万法的本体，一切诸佛与众生自性本中本具的智慧. So the third kind of wisdom is about the universal truth. Okay, that kind of actual dharma that we're talking about, the kind of actual truth that we're talking about. Okay, so those that are still related to the causal and the effect, the cause and effect, the karma and the accumulation of karma and the building of the positive merits and all those things are still within the bounds of the death, the birth and the death. Okay, there is a cause, there is an effect. But if you have gone beyond, gone into the unborn, when there is no birth, there is no death, right? So when you have gone beyond, where there is no birth, there is no death, there is no disease, there is no aging, there is time and space, it's just a concept. When you have gone into that kind of realization, that is when you have that kind of prajna similar to the Bodhisattvas, to the Buddhas themselves. Okay, the ultimate truth. Okay, the ultimate truth about the entire universe. Okay, in many past episodes, I've already spoken about what the ultimate truth really is all based on the illusion. So we need to see, understand, and know that, oh, this is actually just an illusion. So why do we have to be so serious about it, right? You know that within this illusion there are certain rules, the karmic rules of it, the good and the bad. The good will be stopped with the good, the bad will be stopped with the bad. So there is this karmic rule inside this illusion itself. So if you get out of it, you understand that, oh, this is just the rule of the game. You are not playing the game itself, you're out of the game. You'll be able to see the game very clearly. Okay, that's how the wisdom is about. Okay, so for this episode we have gone in depth into the the paramitas. So paramitas is I'll say it is actually a form to say that what is paramitas. Okay, is an Indian Indian translation. So the Sanskrit translation. So Paramitas just simply means going the other shore. Okay, when you're translating it into Chinese, okay, is or English is like going to the other shore. So from this shore where you are within the confinements of the good and the bad, the karma cause and the karmic effect. Okay, you go beyond. All right, I always say to go beyond. That is, you get out of the 10 realms of existence, right? Then you're no longer subject to the birth and the death and everything in between. So, okay, going to the other shore, and finally you attain your Buddhahood. Okay, so this is the kind of practice that our Bodhisattvas have to go through for five aeons. All right, so um, of course they need to go into the perfection of all these things, all these practices, and only then they can become a Buddha. But of course, when we're talking about the Infinite Lifetime Sutra, the shortcut to becoming a Buddha is actually to go straight to Pure Land. Okay, where we now over here we make connections. Okay, we lobby with our Amitabha Buddha, so that at the extinguishing of our lifespan over here, then we can actually go to his Buddha world. Okay, we're lobbying to become a permanent resident in his abode. Okay, Pure Land. Okay, so we shall end today's session over here right now, and we shall continue again in the next episode. I'm not sure whether my laptop is back. Okay, but in case my laptop is not back, then you will again see the Dharma talks without that cover that I usually have for the Dharma talks. Alright, so I'll see you again in the next episode. Take good care now. Bye bye. Chant Amitabha. Okay, be good. Amitabha.